Hi, I'm Luke Seerveld. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Gaffer. Today we're going to talk about some flexible lights. In the past, I've talked about Aladdin's, and we're going to compare the 350 3x3 Aladdin with a ProFlex from Profound that's about the same size. And then we're also going to compare the 1x2 of Aladdin with a 1x2-ish from Falcon Eyes. This scene right here, I've got 200 ISO at 2.8 on Vedra 12 milliprime. Now, while we're at it, we're back in the kitchen, and I thought we could kind of reproduce this look, because this look of sort of open sky through the window is a nice feel. You know, it's a nice soft shadow kind of look, and you know, the larger units, the 3x3, 4x4, are trying to feel like windows. So I thought, what if you're on the 70th floor and you can't put a light outside? You know, difficult to treat the window and all that. Sometimes it's just easier to block it and then bring in your own unit. But if you know what feel you're looking for, you can try to reproduce that. Not necessarily the output that we have right now or the color or anything like that, but just it's a nice exercise. So we'll keep that in mind. Now, just here, it's about 11 o'clock in the morning. Color-wise, it's about 6,500 and a nice full spectrum. That's the sun, right? And sky. And then just to camera, foot candle wise, I've got 37 foot candles. Out to the outside is 60 foot candles. How we would frame this though, if we're not going to see the window, because we're not going to see outside, we're going to replace this window, we're going to darken it, put a unit here. I'm going to cut the frame off here. So we'll keep it wide so we can see what I'm doing, but that would be our scene. And in that case, I'd be sitting over there. Now, if I'm sitting over here, I'm quite a bit further away from that source at the moment, so I'm a little down here. We may bring in the smaller units to augment this part of the frame. But, you know, I could be working here, I could be eating here. It's a nice feel. So let's try to reproduce that. Okay, so first off, we'll block this. And we should do it with duotine, but I'm going to do it with what I've got here. Cloth, but we'll put just going to bring up this other unit for a minute. I've got the 1x2 there. We'll bring in a baby stand because this ProFlex only has a center mount where you have to have the stand somehow grab it from behind rather than, you know, from one of the edges. It's got this controller. I've put a Centena on it and we'll hook that up. Okay, 6500, 0%, DMX 100. So at the moment, I don't have a profile for the ProFlex in blackout. So I'm just using it on the same profile that I have for Aladdin for the 350 fabric light. That's giving me 5500, nice. Maybe bring this down a little bit more. We're not getting that top chop, of course, from like you'd get with the window. And that doesn't help us, so we probably have to bring it in ourselves, or we just have to aim it away a little bit, maybe more like that. Yeah, but it's awkward getting in here. And oh, I've got both these units up for some reason. Okay, so let's take this one down. Okay, that's what we were fighting. Aim this back a little bit more. All right, so that's not horrible. So we're at 40% on that guy. We've got nothing here except that window. The second window is still, so there's 20. If we take this out, it's 7, but it probably has a better wrap here. Now I can't see what I'm looking at. It has the same general feel. It's 55 to 23. And if we bring this up just a tad, so that's 20 there, that's at 40, so they're both at 40. Doesn't feel too double shadowy, but there's a little something there. Okay, so that just wraps this a little bit more without giving us too much extra on the wall. Of course, one of the things you miss is, you know, the nice spill on the floor. If we're cutting our frame, then you still have the glow down here. You don't have the nice wood floor, but you know, this could still work with the given frame. But you know, a window obviously just has a whole lot more going. So another thing would be not to have the LCD on there, open it up a little bit. So now it plays on the floor, but overall intensity we'd want to bring down. You don't get the feel of the window so much on the wall anymore, but now maybe if we angle it down, that's only 10%. So if we bring that up a little bit, bring that down to 15, say. Yeah. So now that gives us the play of the floor, but not necessarily the, and then we're starting to see the actual shape in the map. So that's a little problematic. So maybe that was, but you know, that could be the window. Or so that's a way to look at it too, and then chop it with a flag on top. Yeah, you know, you have to finesse this a little bit with some more grippage and whatnot. But yeah, now let's swap out the profound and put the 350 in there. Okay, so here we have the Aladdin 350 watt fabric light, and we have the same situation where we're not getting, you know, that much light around because we've got the snap grid on there. It's at 40%, and just to look at that, so we could bring up the other one, our other unit to 40, similar. Now let's take off that snap grid. Oh, and color-wise, I'm at the bump stop here, which says 6,000 on blackout, but actual 56. Okay, awesome. All right, well, that kind of blooms out everything. So we'll do what we did the last time. We'll go to 15 on that. Derf. It's a little heavier than the other unit because I've got that whole frame on there. Here you see the scene lit by the two units. The ProFlex is panned a little bit to the left, getting us a little more light into the corner and on the floor. 14, 9. Yeah. So, could work. And then maybe we fill in the floor if we want to see that more. We could put in some fill here. Just for yucks, let's take a smaller unit. We'll take the Falcon Eyes and put that in there instead, because we're working at a pretty low light level. Maybe a smaller unit would work. I don't know. Let's check it out. Okay, so this is the Falcon Eyes RX 18 TDX Mark II. So you can find other tutorials or reviews with the 18 TDX Mark I. This is a newer version. So they've got a little slicker control. You've got built-in Wi-Fi. I haven't been able to figure it out yet. And then it's got DMX, but the DMX has different connectors, so something I've not seen before. So those are things I need to figure out. And you also have some effects now. So paparazzi, lightning, that kind of thing. Output-wise, so this is at 50-foot candles. It's coming out that, and that's with the snap grid inside. And it's not a very deep snap grid. So in some ways, it's playing nicely on the wall. Now it's making a much smaller, less large window-like feel in our map. But, you know, still nice soft shadows. And then if we bring up our other unit, 55, 25. Then we're pretty down here. Okay. Now, so I'm going to go ahead and take out the crate here. 40 on the other one. Let's go to 50 here. Come down some more. There's 40. It's kind of interesting, actually. This is just sort of like a half grid, it looks like, in there. Maybe even less than that. Take it down even a little more. Yeah, we don't have our defined feel of the window. We could potentially angle this, raise, lower, put a top chop on. You know, we might not want this. We could angle this or, you know, swap this out. Yeah, interesting, you know, not impossible. This is larger than the 1x2 for sure. Color-wise, where are we? 5400, and that's it. It says 56, 50, 5500. Yeah, so it's about there. It's a little spiky, but interesting, you know. If this is what you had, you could do it. We're at 30%, you know, so, but it does feel like it doesn't throw as far. So we need a little something more here, at least. And we do have that on. I can take that out, out, boom. Yeah, and then it's just the window. Anyway, just playing around a little bit. I thought we would compare this one with the 1x2, but in a way, it's somewhere in between because it's a little bit larger and yeah, has some more capabilities. It's just a newer version of their unit. So nice when manufacturers take something that works and makes it better. So I like that. There, that's at 40 as well. Now I've tilted it down a little bit so it's not on me exactly, just to see if I can create a bit of a windowy feel up there. Yeah, I don't know. It's not ideal. We have to play with it. Kind of fun to see different units trying to do the same thing. Okay, I don't know how helpful that was, but kind of fun sometimes to just think about how light in your life is playing and can you reconstruct that when you're on a set so that subconsciously the viewer feels like it makes sense rather than, there's just something about this that doesn't quite look right. Yeah, so that's why, yeah, sometimes playing with how does a window look if you have to recreate it is worthwhile. Anyway, it's obviously better to have someone sitting in so you can actually light to something rather than to yourself. I could put a monitor on an HDMI cable. I could probably get a wireless monitor set up down the road. Anyway, so that's that. Now, let's just talk a little bit about this ProFlex from Profound. What I like is it's really light. And I like this center mounted. The backing plate is just really nice and solid. It's well made, has a nice spin to it. So this four-way X works really well with this and actually fits onto the Aladdin 3x3s. So who knew? That's kind of nice to know. And you know, you have a little bit of this free play on the sides where it doesn't have a spine, but it actually keeps it quite taut, so that's not bad. And then this, the front is all one piece, so you can't swap out the front diffusion because it's all part of the whole deal. You may be able to get other versions of, I don't know. And then this, you know, unlike a snap grid, it doesn't really have its own skeleton inside, so it's all pretty lightweight, but it totally works and it's easy to manipulate. So that's nice. You could even, you know, handheld for a while. So one thing that's interesting about LEDs is that the amount of wattage the manufacturer says is driving the light may only be at one point in a given spectrum. So let's say a light is white tunable from warm to cool. The fixture may have more output on very warm and very cool and less output in the middle. Or it might have more output in the middle and less on the other ends of the spectrum. It just kind of depends. So let's check out what we've got here. Put it to wattage. Let's see if you can see that there. Okay, so that's wattage, and we're at 1%. Let's go to full bump stop here is 6,500 Kelvin, and go up to 100%, and we've got 336. So this is spec'd at a 400 watt unit, but what we are actually putting out here is 336. So let's go all the way to the other end of the Kelvin's spectrum, and we've got 330 at 2800. Let's go somewhere in the middle, maybe 42. Okay, and we're at 311. So a little less than on either end. Kind of interesting. You know, that's why I kind of like to just play with that and see what the manufacturer says and what you're actually getting. On an Aladdin, which says it's a 350, that's more like 300. What else do we have here? We don't have a lot. I mean, there's no effects. There's no, you can set your DMX, and that's what I had before. DMX in and out, and then you have 48 DC. I'm not quite sure if you can run it on like one of those dual V-Lock adapters. I don't know. Or does this have to go into a bigger battery? Compared to the Aladdin 350, this little controller is very straightforward. It's just that the Aladdin 350 allows you to put two V-Locks on it and run it to 26 volts and run it for a good long time. That has, you know, a little more flexibility than this does, and it has lumen radio built in, so you don't have to put in this antenna. You know, pluses and minuses, right? As far as the frame goes, this frame is great, but it's only a center pin, whereas, you know, the custom-made thing I had made up is I can grab it from wherever I want to put the pin. Yeah, so just, you know, some comparisons. Basically, probably similar output. I haven't even looked at the specs. I didn't even put a meter on that for that, because to me, they're very similar. I don't even know price. So a lot of help I am. Anyway, two units that have similar form factor, similar, you know, thinness. Even when you put a front on it, that's not bad. And you can break it down into quite a minimal case for travel, which is great. If you want to learn more about the ProFlex line from Profound, contact Dedolight California, their distributor. That's how I got this. Been able to play with it for a little bit, and now it's your turn. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time. Just a quick note why I'm talking about flexible lights, because in small spaces, they don't take up a lot of room. They don't have as much output as their more robust counterparts, you know, like sky panels or larger celebs, but they break down really small and are good for travel, good for sticking in your vehicle. Similar lights are light mats, but light mats keep their shape, their form, so they take up a fair amount of room when you've got them all packed up. And so that's kind of a different video.